All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Hashem. You know, I got a question for you. This is really a recurring question that Ifa asks us indirectly every single time we go to consult and Romulad's Oracle for Wisdom. And the question is, are you willing to sacrifice everything that you know today? Are you willing to sacrifice everything that you are today in order to fulfill the potentiality of your destiny and your true identity? Are you willing to give everything up that you have today in order to then either acquire or fill into the space, the larger space, the deeper space that has been carved out for you by your destiny? Are you willing to do that? That's the question. And the interesting thing about that question, as simple as it is, because of course everybody says, yeah, yeah, because I envision that my destiny is going to be so much greater, that my potential is so much greater, it has so much more promise. Yes, of course, intellectually, I'm willing to give up everything I got now to get something greater tomorrow. It's like, am I willing to give up $500 today to have $5 million in 5 years? Absolutely, right? But the interesting, I guess, ironic reality is that people need consistency. We depend heavily on order. We require a high level of predictability in order for us to maintain functioning, right? And it increases as you age. So you put something in a certain place, you want it to be there. You freak out if it's not there, right? Some people become totally undone if you just move things around in their physical environment, let alone if you start trying to rearrange their thoughts and their value system. I mean, it's difficult for all of us, but for some people, it's just totally intolerant. And so, intellectually, you may say, "I'm willing to give it up to, I'm willing to give everything up to have something greater." But when it comes to actual experience, you're going to be a lot more reluctant to just give up everything and just start changing things for a potential, realization or fulfillment in the future. And this is, like I said, this is the recurring question that Ifa is asking us all the time. Ifa doesn't say that when you go and have a consultation. Ifa will say, are you willing to sacrifice, these items and this money? Are you willing to sacrifice this behavior? You won't go to these places or you won't eat that food, right? That's just a little acid test. Are you willing to do that? If you're willing to do that, then we can go the next step. Are you willing to sacrifice this and that? Are you willing to stop doing this and start doing that? Okay, yeah, I can. So you can keep getting more and more opportunities to say what you are willing to give in order to realize what is possible for you. And that is the nature of life. And so, what you really aspire to do is voluntarily sacrifice all of the things that you know are preventing you from growing. That's the goal. Once you sat in on 100 divinations, and and you do the math and you accept the basic premise that I'm presenting to you, then you realize, oh, what Ifa is telling me really is that in order for people to get better, in order for people to fulfill our destinies, in order for people to really accomplish our life's work and to fulfill our life's mission, what we need to do is continuously sacrifice what we know and who we are bit by bit in order to grow and expand and be transformed. But what we need is something or somebody who will hold our hand and sometimes hold our feet to the fire when it comes time to disrupt the order. Because as soon as things start to become unpredictable, then most of us are going to go very aggressively back to the things that we know well. And so just because things are, familiar doesn't mean it's good for you, right? That's why you need somebody to hold your hands or hold your feet to the fire. You need somebody to constantly remind you, hey, I know that's normal. I know that's familiar. I know you've been down that road and you know what that looks like and how that feels better than anything else. But that's not good for you. It's bad for you. The more you do that, the more you stagnate, the more you go backwards. So part of my role as a teacher, as a guide, as a priest, is to hold your hand and also hold you to the fire, hold your feet to the fire. Because you're holding your hand means you're going to get scared. And you need someone who's going to hold your hand and say it's going to be all right. I've walked these people down this road many times, and this is always the scary part. But don't worry, you're going to be fine. I'll hold your hand. Likewise, you need someone to hold your feet to the fire to say, hey, look, you started this journey. You made this commitment. You said that was what you wanted to do. You asked to have this experience and to accomplish this thing. This is part of the deal. Stay with it. I don't want to hear about your complaining. I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about your discomfort. All of that is what you need to put into your journal. Today, we're going to hit this work, and you're going to get it done. Period. Right? So you need both. You need both. But you need it to be clearly directed. It's not willy-nilly. It's not freestyling. We're moving in a specific direction. We're moving at a specific rate or a specific pace. We have a vision of what it is we want to accomplish. That's my duty, right? To help you clarify those things and keep that vision in mind and keep working gradually toward realizing this vision that you really have for your life, coupled with the way in which Ifa is outlining how you can make that journey. All right. And so I want to encourage folks to understand that in the big picture of things, you have to be ready, willing, and able to basically on a certain level. It's not esoteric. You just got to be willing to grow up, and you got to be willing to sacrifice immaturity in favor of maturity. You got to be willing to sacrifice immaturity in favor of maturity. And, immaturity is fun. Immaturity is spontaneous. Immaturity is naive and is innocent. It's uninformed. It's unjaded, untainted. It's a beautiful thing to be young and immature, to be completely honest. But you got to be willing to sacrifice that, right? You got to be willing to give that up in order to become mature. And particularly here in the United States, where we live in the Disneyland culture, everything is telling you that you want to be forever young. They're constantly going on and on and on about how, I don't know, 60 is the new 40, and 90 is the new 50, and 120 is the new 60. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, no. Why do I want to be 60 years old looking like I'm 30? Why do I want to be 60 and have you treating me like I'm 30? Why do I want to be a perpetual youth and teenager? What is the goal of that? Why is that so important? But that's what we promote in the culture. So childishness, selfishness, immaturity, which are all also built into those virtues of being immature. We tolerate those kind of shadowy aspects of immaturity because we want to hold so tightly to the virtues of immaturity. Either way, what according to the wisdom of Ifa, what I'm extrapolating from the overall teachings is that you, as a mindset and a set of practices and habits, you've got to be ready, willing, and able to sacrifice your immaturity in favor of maturity. And maturity says, whatever needs to be done, I will do it. If there are 20 jobs that need to be done and I need to do all 20, so be it. And it's not finished when I get tired. It's not finished when I get hungry. It's not finished when I get lonely. It's not finished when I get angry. It's not finished when I get sad. It's not finished when I get scared. It's finished when it's finished. When the last T is crossed and the last I is dotted, then the work is complete. Then I can stop. That's maturity. You show up early, you stay late. You work through your lunch, whatever it takes, you do what you need to do. That's maturity. Following through and seeing things, to completion. That is an attribute of maturity. Patience. There's no such thing as immature as mature and impatient. Mature people are patient. Mature people have been around the block enough to know they can wait a minute. This can pause. I can give this 15 more minutes. I can give this a day. I can wait because what I'm looking for is going to be there. So maturity is follow through. Maturity is patience. Maturity is compassion. No such thing as a mature person who's not compassionate. Why? Because you know what it's like to change yourself. You know how difficult it is to sacrifice your habits and sacrifice your values and sacrifice even your social relationships. You know. So when you see people struggling and they're going through it and they're not making the best decisions and they're not demonstrating the highest caliber of their being, you can be compassionate with them. Doesn't mean you have to coddle them. It means you understand you're having a real hard time with this right now. You've been working on this for days. You've been coming in early. You've been staying late. You haven't been eating all your meals. You're tired. You're hungry. You're irritable. I get it. I understand. I can acknowledge your situation right now. And I understand you need to keep going. But I feel your pain. That's maturity. That's maturity because you are grappling with yourself. And this is what I mean by a disruptive sacrifice. The self-sacrifice is a disruptive sacrifice. It is a self-selected disruption. Is where you identify those areas in your life where you're going to strategically and methodically interrupt everything that you know, everything that's familiar. You're going to purposefully pull the rug from underneath yourself to change certain habits. You're going to deliberately block certain kinds of thoughts and certain kinds of habits. You're going to break certain cycles so that you can reinvent yourself little by little, bit by bit. That is a disruptive sacrifice. The sacrifice that you bring of a goat or a palm oil or all that, that is a sacrifice that you make for the metaphysical realm. That's for things that happen on a level that you don't have any influence over. That's where the divinities reign and where they create their influence. But as far as what you have control over, the thing that you can manage day in and day out, every day of your life, is the disruptive sacrifice, the personal sacrifice, where you identify what needs to stop. And that's kind of what it boils down to. You look and you say, this cannot continue. I cannot keep doing this and at the same time attain that. So therefore, because this thing that I want to accomplish and what I want to be is of the highest importance, this habit, this relationship, this mindset must be sacrificed. I must let it go. I must disrupt the pattern on this side of my life so that I can move more securely and more, steadily in the desired direction of my life. Because ultimately, even though the culture and the social environment is going to encourage and reinforce immaturity in you, the same people in the same environments that are encouraging you not to grow and change will become disgusted with you 10 years from now. They'll ridicule you and shame you if you stay in the same place from 25 to 35, from 35 to 45, from 45 to 55. You're the same, you got the same, limitations. It's going to wear out. And there will be no one who is going to really come to your aid. No one's going to support you. And the only people who do support you are also stuck. They're also stagnant. They haven't evolved from 25 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 to 55, right? Again, it's um, the world, the environment will encourage you to do the most immature things, right? But you within yourself, your conscience uh, constantly lets you know that that's not really consistent with my destiny. There's something inside you that sends off a little alarm. That's not really consistent with my highest ideal. That's not really where I truly see myself. Or yes, this strongly resonates with me. This is exactly where I need to be. Nobody else sees it or nobody else agrees with it, or and I don't need that. I just know within my heart that's the way for me to go. I need to let this go. Or I need to pick this up. Right? All with the clear understanding that you were born with a purpose. It was a destiny that brought you into this world. You're not random. You're not an accident. It isn't just the special people or just the beautiful people or just the super talented people who have a purpose and have a mission in this world. Every single one of us has a mission and a purpose. You know, the Yoruba say, all people are not identical. Let the fingers on your hand be your guide, meaning they're all different sizes fingers, all different kinds of fingers, some that are more useful than others. But there's not one of them that you're going to get rid of. You're not going to say, oh, well, this little pinky doesn't do so much, so I'm willing to let it go. You're not going to cut that off, right? It does enough for you to keep it. So it is with you. You, as meager as your contribution may seem, you are essential to something. You need to know what that something is and show up as fully as you possibly can and understand that all the sacrifices and all the disruption and all of the changes that you're making to be the best version of yourself are going to enable you to make the contribution that you chose in the prenatal state. You're going to be able to fulfill the mission that brought you into this world. And so this message, like all messages, are for leaders. I'm speaking to the leaders. I'm reaching out to the leaders. I'm beckoning the leaders. I'm looking for the people who are determined to improve the world through positive influence. If you're one of those people, I want you to find out how Obafemi Oribowa and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the next level. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start doing the work to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.